Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome
guys.
to the Situationship Circle. I am one of your moderators, Norman Devar, and I am here with the lovely
Tony Breon, the second moderator for the
Yes.
table.
So we just wanted to come to you guys to tell you a little bit about how it works. Tony, tell them about how it works.
Okay, so we have a cast of about 20 people
20.
that we hang out with from time to time to talk about race, sex, politics, religion, anything under the sun. So if you see somebody on the side, it doesn't mean that they're not important. It just means that we picked 6 people to sit with us that have strengths in that topic that we're talking about.
So they can have a seat at the table.
Just for a little bit.
Okay.
Now, if you see somebody on the side picking up an emoji, then we can tell you a little bit about
Let me tell you about these emojis. So we're using these emojis to help the people on the outside kind of personify the things that are going on in their head. Like, I can't agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. Listen, you better speak quick because I'm almost done. So we got a couple emojis out here going on. Also, we got something called a flag.
Yes, I love the flag.
The flag on the play. That means then in turn, whoever is speaking in that moment has to stop. It's over. So that person has to stop, and whoever threw the flag, they now have 60 seconds to prove a point. So they now have 60 seconds to shut you down and to say whatever it is that they need to say to turn around whatever you was trying to say. Okay. So, Tony, you also know we got the cards, right?
Yes, we have the cards.
So, with the cards, that's how we figure out who's going to go first.
Pretty much.
Who is going to speak on which topic and how it's going to work.
That's never pre-planned.
Never.
So what we'll do is, this is Norman's job.
we randomly shuffle the deck of cards and we put them on the table, and everybody who has a seat with us at the table for the moment gets to select a card, and whoever has the ellipses,
yes, the 3 dots.
Yes, the 3 dots. They'll be able to speak first on the subject.
And it better be good.
It better be good.
So without further ado,
welcome to the Situationship Circle.
The last time we linked up on the Situationship Circle,
you have to find someone that you are like compatible with, like on every level.
The spouse says, you know what, I love you, but I need more. I need something else. What does that look like for you?
What do you need more of? Do you need more head?
Why is it that we go straight to sex? Is sex not a main thing in 2018?
Sex, I say, is maybe 20% of what you need to work on in a relationship.
Yeah, when is the right time to cheat? When is that okay?
I don't necessarily believe
Now here's part 2.
So I just have one question, like when did it become acceptable as a part of our generation, this ideology of having a hoe phase? Like, what is this? Like, when did that become okay? Like, what happened to a virtuous woman? What happened to like a respectable man that can say no, that can have self-control, that doesn't have to...
Just because you call it a hoe phase doesn't mean that you're sleeping with everybody that you're dealing with or anything like I'm not. My hoe phase was more of me like dating, and it just got, I mean, I just accepted the hoe phase because that's what people call it. I mean, whatever. But I don't believe that you should comfort somebody or comfort people because they choose to see what they like and don't like. Like you said, it's different for everybody. The way that I dated, or I'm still dating, but the way that I chose to date was to hang out with different people. I don't discriminate. So if I wanted to hang out with a guy that goes mudding to see if I like the mud, then that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, life is about like having different experiences and knowing different things and culturing yourself.
We can
Thanks. And culturing yourself. So I don't think, I think it's okay to just call it a hoe phase, or you can call it your fun time or whatever, but just because I choose to date does not mean I choose to fuck. That's not what that means. So yeah, it's the terminology that you use, and I think it's totally acceptable to be in your 20s and date whoever you want to. If I want to date a guy that's gonna fly me out to New York for dinner, then that's what it is, and I've done that, and it's fun. Yeah. Like do what you want to do. Like I'm gonna live my life. I'm living my best life. Okay, I'm gonna do whatever it is I please.
So as you'll see, I was very confused, just thrown off, lost in the sauce. I was confused because I was hearing a conversation about a hoe phase. The question was about a hoe phase, and what was being described wasn't a hoe phase to me. I have never had a hoe phase. But when I think about hoe phases, I'm thinking like Insecure, Issa Rae, where we're sleeping, we out, we busting it open, and that's not what was being described. Like, we were describing then a dating scenario where you're like going out with guys and going to dinner, going to the movies or whatever. Those are two different things to me. So, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the only problem I had with what Kyle said is what happened to a virtuous woman.
Yeah, like,
Okay, but tell me about it.
Okay, so the only problem with that is when you single a woman out, it's just like, it's not as if men have not been having a hoe phase. We just call it him doing him, or men just having fun, or he's doing what he has to do before he settles down and get married and start having children. So I think it's okay, in light of dating around, we call it a hoe phase. But honestly, that's prostitution if you out here just having sex with everybody, you know, for life.
Which is okay.
prostitution is the exchange of adults.
Okay, so I just think, you know, that whole phase, it's kind of like playing on gender roles in a sense.
So I feel like a lot of people were getting on me when I made the point about being a virtuous woman or a Proverbs 31 woman. And whether it's right or wrong, it's the reality. As a father myself, I believe that women are held or should be held to a higher standard. Being the caregiver, being the people that birth children, being the people that are bearing children. As my son, he looks at his mother as the example. He looks at her as, you know, that kind of direction. And he looks at me, you know, in terms of a father for the guidance, for the push, to be able to challenge him and increase his standards for living. But I believe if we get into this ideology as it's acceptable for women to go through this hoe phase, it's continuing to perpetuate a cycle that's leading to low family structures and kids being raised you know, in systems and in families that aren't conducive to what is best for them to be able to be successful in life. And whether the women's rights movement happened in the 60s, I believe that it's important for women to understand their role in America or in the world as in general. Men have a role, and we have certain standards that we're held to, and also women have a role to play, and all of us together be able to help build families, build the economy, build business, whatever those roles are. But I do believe that women are held to a certain standard, and I believe personally that women should be held to a higher standard, and maybe if we continue to hold our women at a higher standard, that will challenge and hold our men accountable for them being held to a higher standard to be able to love, take care, and provide for women and families as well.
I completely reject the notion that we have to have those phases.
Okay.
I reject that because it makes people who you are, and I think that's actually part of the problem. I think that people don't really know how to date as young people anymore. I think that people associate, like, even the fact that we use the word like the hoe phase. Like, why are we even using that terminology to describe us being single? Why can't we just be single? Because again, that even though it's a word, it adds meaning to how you live your life, how you like formulate how you want to live your life. So I feel like people should have the flexibility to date and be single however they want to be.
I just have a question for everybody. Like, why in this generation do we have to define every freaking thing? Like, you don't have to, like, you just basically are saying, like, you have to have a definition to dating. You don't know how to date. I'm gonna date like I want to date. Just like if you want to date in the church. I know you're not speaking to me in general. I'm just saying, like, I feel like this generation, like, puts so much emphasis on, like, titles for everything. Everything has to have a title to it. Everything has to be defined. People are people. People are different. Like, I'm not gonna date the way you date. If you want to date somebody in church, or that's how you choose to date, or I want to date on Tinder, you know what I mean? Like, that's me. I don't have to say this is. There's no rule book to life. There's no rule book to anything.
I think what his issue is, though, is the fact that we have made the use of derogatory terms okay.
Yeah.
We're calling it a hoe phase. I'm not very fond of being called a hoe. I don't know who really is, so I don't really want to call it a hoe phase.
Well, let's change it.
I'm just saying. I think that's what some people are referencing. Like, we're making a derogatory term okay.
What happens when we're strongly dating multiple people?
No offense.
Because I have strongly dated multiple people.
No, you can't go out too.
about to say, if you're strongly dating multiple people, I mean, I definitely kicked it with multiple girls at a
That's what I'm saying.
time.
But how do you transition? But that's what
about
I'm saying. Let's be specific. Let's not necessarily get so caught up on the holy part of the sexual aspect.
I need to say first before we go ahead.
In that moment, I felt it was just ridiculous that everyone in the room was agreeing with being called hoes. Mom ain't raised no hoe. Okay, I don't associate any behaviors that I display that are hoe-like. Okay, I also feel like when I made the comment about how people don't know how to date, to me, people calling being single being a hoe. I just thought that was sort of narrowing and also very unhealthy. I feel like being that way is emotionally unhealthy, physically unhealthy, spiritually unhealthy. And to be honest, people wonder why their monogamous relationships aren't working. It's because you were being single in that kind of way for the grand majority of your young life, and then you're trying to figure out why you can't have a monogamous relationship. So I just feel like we need to be more liberal with how we describe our single lives.
And then after that, we're going to go to the audience. Okay, y'all have something to say as well.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that right now we live in a very transparent generation.
Yeah.
Before, the generation before us and the generation before them, they didn't talk about it. They just came home with a side baby. So now you're dealing with a side baby or a woman on this side of town, and next thing you know, you gotta accept them, and that's your cousin when they really wasn't your cousin. I'm sorry. Listen.
My face on now.
Beautiful. So listen, I just really think that we need to be prepared. When you really, really love somebody and you really, really fuck with somebody, you're going to change. I think when you date other people, they open up your eyes to different things. Am I right? Am I not right? Do I feel like you like, ooh, you taught me about, so much. I just love you. You know what I mean? And I just feel like everyone needs to experience that. I feel like our generation before us is now trying to teach us, go out there, experience life, baby. I want you to travel, because they understand that in order for you to reach your fullest potential, you need to do those different things. You need to have those different bumps in the road to really become a well-rounded individual. Don't bring your shit over here. Work on it, and then, whatever we got left over, we can work on it together. I feel like that is when you're ready. And you're gonna know that, because you're gonna find somebody you like, you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. I genuinely believe that. Okay, girl, you ready? You might have to come up.
I think you just hit it right on. I think that the reason we kind of have all these options and where we can have this whole phase or dating around or whatever is because we have what the generation before us didn't have. And that's pretty much access to the whole world around us at our fingertips, whether it's through social media, whether it's through online dating, or just the communities that we built around us. Like, we go to college and we're going to college with people from all over the country, all over the world, or in our workplaces. So we have more options of people that we can talk to, interact with, build relationships potentially. And we have that kind of, and for the most part, though most of us don't necessarily have the monetary capital, we have like that social capital to kind of build our communities. So I think when it goes back to, I think the problem is when we look at dating, a lot of us kind of want to aspire to like what our parents and grandparents had, like, oh, they met in high school and they fell in love and they got married, they've been married for 40 years. But like I said, there's a lot that went into that. A lot of family secrets, a lot of, things like that we're just finding out. I'm just finding out stuff about my own family later on, in life. And I'm 25 and I'm like, oh, that wasn't as picture perfect as I thought, So it's kind of, I think with us, we see those things and we don't want to make those mistakes, and we've been told we're not to make those mistakes anymore. So yeah, it may look like, oh, we don't have any type of sense about what we're looking for with a person, but we're not going to know unless we try. We're not going to know unless we go out and talk to people. Now, how you want to handle that is different. Some people don't handle it in the best situation. They ghost people or whatever have you. But, I think everyone has the option and has the right to try and date around and be social with whomever they want.
I agree with you. I think you're right about going out dating. A lot of you guys keep talking about, we need to have experiences as we're growing up so we can figure out what we want, what we don't want, and yada, yada, yada. But I do think we're creatures of habit. I do think that how you are right now is how you'll be most likely for a long period of time. It's really hard to change who you are right now. So if you're going around and doing whatever you're doing right now, that's why it's so difficult difficult to have a you know a solid relationship with somebody because you've gone through this phase or whatever society told you you're supposed to have, right? And then you want to change up all of a sudden and have the Huxtable relationship all of a sudden.
But what about
Like,
seasons? Isn't life about going through seasons?
Yeah, but you have to protect the way you think. You have to protect your mind and what you expose your body to. But the thing is, like, you don't go from relationship to relationship leaving everything you were exposed to in the prior one behind. You take every little bit of every person you're with, you take a little bit of them with you. The drama, the mental anguish you might have experienced with them, the displeasure, the whatever, you're taking all that with you and you're dragging it to the next relationship. So to me, if you really think about it, the more you expose yourself to all kinds of people, the more stuff you get to deal with in that relationship you're trying to make long term.
But aren't you making conscious decisions on who you keep around you, and if you are in control of the people around you and your energy, you're gonna protect that. So anybody that I choose or anybody that anyone chooses to have around them, the second I feel like their energy is off and we are not a good match or whatever, like I can choose not to deal with that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, but everyone is different. That's what I'm saying. Like everyone is different. That is quite true. And I do believe that we are creatures of habit. But I also believe that in life you have seasons and things change and you evolve and you grow 100%.
And everybody's going to be different.
Yeah.
And we know that. So at this moment, we want to thank you guys for joining us at this lovely table today. And we always want to let you guys know out there to let us know what you think. Like, comment, share. If you guys have something to say, you want to talk to us, make a comment, let it know. Let it be known. You want to tag somebody and say, you know what, Anthony, I don't like that what you said. You know, if you want to put a comment and say, flag on the play, put a flag on the play. Tony?
Hey guys. Now, I just appreciate you guys joining us for this conversation about monogamy. I'd like to thank everyone who joined us at the table today, even Anthony. And I can't wait to see you guys next time at the Situationship Circle.
Same time next week. Bye, guys.
As a kid, I remember seeing my parents argue, and I remember thinking when I got to middle and high school, I'm like, I wish they would just get a divorce so I don't have to keep thinking about, am I going to be able to come home?
But I never truly knew my parents. They pushed me to being successful, but they never empowered my emotions as a person.
Where we're in these places where we feel like we not necessarily don't not applaud them or not give them an E for effort, but where we feel like there's something slightly missing or we will slide a little bit. We know that as we grow up and we mature, we have to figure out how to overcome these things, because at some point in our lives we have to break the cycle, right? Yeah. So let's talk about how do we move to break that cycle? What does that look like? Like, when do you see yourself in your parent, you're like, oh shoot, that's me.